She burst into the restaurant shaking, grabbed the Mafia boss by the arm, and choked out the words that froze every man in the room. "They kidnapped my mama!" Angelo Greco, the coldest, most feared kingpin in the city, felt something snap inside him. Something he thought he buried with Lucia 18 years ago. And when he stood up, every killer at that table realized one thing. Whoever took that woman had just declared war on the wrong man. But what Angelo finds on the first trail of blood shatters everything he believed about his past. If you're hooked in and want to enjoy this story, go ahead and subscribe and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see where everyone's watching. Plus, tomorrow I've got another incredible story lined up, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Alright, back to the story. Every capo at the table tenses. Hands move instinctively toward concealed weapons. The room collectively holds its breath, waiting to see how the most dangerous man in the city will react to this impossible intrusion. But Angelo doesn't move. He simply watches as this small, trembling child crosses the distance between them, her dirty bare foot slapping against marble, her breath coming in, hitching sobs. And when she reaches him, when her small fingers wrap around his tattooed forearm with desperate, crushing strength, when she looks up at him with eyes that have seen too much horror for someone so young, something flickers behind his cold expression. For 3 full seconds, no one breathes. The maitre d' stands paralyzed near the entrance. Waiters freeze with trays balanced on their palms. Angelo's lieutenants exchange quick, uncertain glances. They've never seen anything like this. In 15 years of weekly meetings at this table, no one has ever interrupted. No outsider has ever been foolish enough to burst through those doors. And certainly no child has ever dared to touch Angelo Greco without permission. "Boss?" Marco, his second in command, leans forward slightly, his hand resting on the gun beneath his jacket. His voice is low, controlled. "You want me to—" "No." Angelo's voice cuts through the tension like a blade. He doesn't look at Marco. His gaze remains fixed on the little girl clinging to his arm, her entire body shaking with fear and exhaustion. Everyone stays where they are. The child's tears fall faster now, soaking into the expensive fabric of his black shirt. Her knuckles are white from gripping his forearm so tightly, as if he's the only solid thing in a world that's suddenly come apart. She's barely able to speak through her sobs, but she forces the words out anyway. They took her," she gasps. "Bad men. They broke our door. They grabbed my mama, and—" her voice cracks completely. "She told me to run. She told me to find someone strong. Please, please. You have to help her." The room remains frozen in this surreal tableau. Dangerous men in tailored suits, men who've ordered executions over dessert and discussed body disposal over wine, all staring at a 7-year-old girl begging the most feared mafia boss on the East Coast for help. Angelo's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Something dark and painful flashes through his eyes, something his men haven't seen in years. For just a moment, he's not looking at this child. He's seeing another woman's face, hearing different screams, reliving a nightmare he spent 18 years trying to bury. Lucia. The name echoes through his mind like a gunshot. His fiancée, the woman who carried his unborn child, the woman who was taken from him in exactly this way, desperate, terrified, begging for help that never came in time. He'd failed her. He'd been too slow, too trusting, too convinced that his reputation alone would protect what mattered most. And when he finally found her, it was too late. All that remained was blood and betrayal and a void in his chest that never fully healed. Angelo had promised himself he would never let emotion dictate his decisions again, never let sentiment cloud his judgment, never care enough about anyone to feel that kind of pain again. And yet here sits this child, with dirt on her face and terror in her eyes, triggering every buried instinct he spent nearly 2 decades suppressing. "What's your name?" His voice comes out rougher than intended. The girl hiccups, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "Be Brenda." "Brenda." Angelo tests the name, then asks the question he already knows will complicate everything. "Why did you come here?" "Why me?" She blinks up at him through her tears, and what she says next sends a ripple of shock through every man at that table. "Because—" Brenda's voice trembles but holds a strange, innocent certainty. "Because my mama said even scary people protect the weak. She said the strongest man in the city sits at this table every Thursday. She said if anything bad ever happened, I should run here." Her small hand tightens on his arm. "You're strong enough to save her. I know you are." Silence. Absolute, deafening silence. Marco's expression shifts from confusion to disbelief. The other capos exchange loaded glances. Angelo's reputation has apparently spread so far that even frightened mothers tell their children to seek him out in emergencies. It's absurd. It's dangerous. It's exactly the kind of thing that should make Angelo push her away and return to business. Instead, something cracks inside the fortress he's built around himself. He sees Lucia in this child's desperation. He sees the family he lost. He sees 18 years of regret staring up at him with wide, trusting eyes, offering him something he never thought he'd get a second chance. For the first time in years, Angelo Greco makes a decision based purely on emotion rather than strategy. He stands abruptly, his chair scraping against marble. Every man at the table tenses, unsure what's coming next. Brenda stumbles back slightly but doesn't let go of his arm. Angelo looks down at her, his expression unreadable but his voice absolute. "Stay close to me." Then he turns to his stunned lieutenants and issues an order that changes everything. "Get the car." Marco's eyes widen. "Boss, we're in the middle of... now." Angelo's tone leaves no room for argument. "We have a woman to find. And before we go deeper into this heart-stopping story, don't forget to subscribe because no child should ever have to face danger alone, and your support helps bring more stories like this to light." The black Mercedes idles outside La Rosa d'Oro, engine purring like a predator waiting to strike. Marco holds the door open, his face a careful mask of professionalism, but his eyes betray his confusion. In 15 years of service, he's never seen Angelo abandon a strategic meeting for anyone, let alone a child he's never met. Angelo guides Brenda toward the car, his large hand resting protectively on her small shoulder. She hasn't let go of his arm since she grabbed it, her fingers still wrapped around his tattooed forearm like a lifeline. As they reach the vehicle, two of Angelo's other men move to intercept them. "Boss, wait." Dante, one of his senior capos, steps forward cautiously. "We don't know this kid. We don't know what this is. This could be a setup." She's 7 years old, Dante." Angelo's voice is ice cold, but there's something else beneath it, something dangerous and protective. "You think she's working for our enemies?" "I think..." Dante glances at Brenda, then lowers his voice. "I think you're not thinking clearly. We have protocols for situations like this. We don't just get in the car or get out of my way." The finality in Angelo's tone ends the discussion. Dante steps back, exchanging a loaded glance with Marco. They've seen Angelo angry before. They've seen him ruthless, calculating, merciless. But this raw, emotional reaction, this is new territory, and it terrifies them more than any rival gang ever could. Angelo slides into the back seat with Brenda. She immediately scoots closer to him, pressing against his side as if trying to disappear into his protection. Marco gets behind the wheel while Dante reluctantly takes the passenger seat. The car pulls away from the restaurant, leaving behind a dining room full of confused and unsettled mobsters. "Brenda." Angelo keeps his voice steady, gentle, even a tone his men have never heard him use. "I need you to tell me everything. Start from the beginning. What happened tonight?" She wipes her eyes with trembling hands, trying to calm her breathing. We were eating dinner. Just spaghetti. Mama made it special because I got a good grade on my spelling test." Her voice cracks. Then someone knocked really hard on the door. Mama looked through the peephole and her face got scared. She told me to hide in my room, but I heard everything. Angelo's jaw tightens. "What did you hear?" "They broke the door down." Brenda's whole body shakes with the memory. There were 3 men, maybe 4. They had masks on, black ones that covered their whole faces. One of them grabbed Mama and she screamed. She fought them. She scratched one of them really bad and he hit her and her voice dissolves into sobs. Angelo's hand moves instinctively to her back, an awkward but genuine attempt at comfort. In the front seat, Marco's eyes flick to the rearview mirror, watching this impossible scene unfold. Their boss, the man who once broke a rival's arm for touching his car, is comforting a crying child. "You're doing good, Brenda," Angelo says quietly. "Keep going. What happened next?" She takes a shuddering breath. "Mama yelled at me to run. She said to go through my window, down the fire escape. She said to find the strongest person I knew." Brenda looks up at him with red, swollen eyes. "I didn't know where to go. But I remembered what Mama told me once. She said there's a man who sits in the fancy restaurant on Thursday nights. She said even though everyone's scared of him, he has rules. He doesn't hurt kids or families. She said if anything really bad ever happened, that man might help." The car goes completely silent except for the hum of the engine. Marco's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. Dante stares straight ahead, his expression unreadable. Angelo feels something twist in his chest, something he thought died 18 years ago. This woman, Brenda's mother, she believed in something about him that he stopped believing in himself. She thought he was someone worth running to. Someone who would protect the innocent despite the blood on his hands. Did they say anything? Angelo's voice is harder now, shifting into the tactical mindset he needs. The men who took your mother, did you hear them say any names? Any words that stuck out? Brenda nods quickly. One of them said, he said, the package is secure. And another one said, she scrunches her face, trying to remember. He said he'll come now, just like before. The temperature in the car drops 10 degrees, just like before. Angelo's entire body goes rigid. Marco catches his eye in the mirror, and the look they exchange confirms what they're both thinking. This wasn't random. This wasn't some opportunistic kidnapping by desperate criminals looking for ransom money. This was planned, coordinated, designed specifically to draw Angelo out. The exact same way Lucia was taken. Where do you live? Angelo's voice is barely above a whisper now, but it carries the weight of an avalanche about to break loose. Brenda gives him the address, a modest apartment building in a working-class neighborhood 15 minutes away. Marco doesn't need to be told. He's already changing course, the Mercedes accelerating through the city streets. Angelo stares out the window, his mind racing through possibilities, connections, enemies who might know enough about his past to weaponize it against him. The list is short. He thought he'd eliminated everyone who knew about Lucia. He spent years making sure every loose end was tied, every threat neutralized, every member of the organization responsible buried 6 feet deep. But someone survived, someone remembered, and now they're using an innocent woman and her terrified daughter to finish what they started nearly 2 decades ago. Brenda's small voice breaks through his thoughts. You're not going to leave me, are you? Angelo looks down at her, at this brave little girl who ran through dangerous streets to find help from a monster. And he makes her a promise he's not entirely sure he can keep. I won't leave you, Brenda. Not until your mother is safe. The Mercedes pulls up to a tired brick building in a neighborhood where streetlights flicker and shadows pool in doorways. Brenda's apartment complex looks exactly like 1,000 others across the city, weathered, modest, the kind of place where working families live paycheck to paycheck and mind their own business. Angelo steps out first, scanning the street with practiced efficiency. Too quiet. No curious neighbors peeking through curtains despite the commotion that must have occurred earlier. Either they didn't hear anything, or they heard too much and knew better than to get involved. Brenda climbs out after him, her hand immediately finding his again. She leads him toward the building's entrance, past a broken security door that swings uselessly on its hinges. Marco and Dante follow close behind, hands inside their jackets, fingers resting on concealed weapons. 3rd floor, Brenda whispers. Apartment 3C. They climb the narrow stairwell in tense silence. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. When they reach the 3rd floor, Angelo doesn't need Brenda to point out which apartment is hers. The door hangs open at an unnatural angle, the frame splintered where it was kicked in. Deep gouges mark the wood where the lock was torn completely free. This wasn't subtle. This was violent, meant to terrify. Angelo raises a hand, signaling Marco and Dante to wait. He approaches the doorway carefully, his body positioned between Brenda and whatever might be inside. But even before he crosses the threshold, he knows the apartment is empty. The stillness has a particular quality to it, the hollow echo of a space violated and abandoned. He steps inside. The small living room looks like a tornado passed through it. The couch is overturned, cushions scattered across the floor. A lamp lies shattered in the corner, its shade crushed. Picture frames have been knocked off the wall, family photos of Brenda and her mother, their smiling faces now trapped behind cracked glass. A small dining table stands askew, 2 plates of half-eaten spaghetti still sitting there, the pasta now cold and congealed. Evidence of a struggle is everywhere. A trail of overturned furniture leads toward the bedroom. Scratch marks gouge the hardwood floor where someone Brenda's mother was dragged. A woman's shoe lies abandoned near the doorway, its heel broken. Angelo's hands curl into fists. The scene is horrifyingly familiar, every detail triggering memories he's kept locked away for 18 years. Different apartment, same violence, same terror. He remembers finding Lucia's place in similar condition. The overturned furniture, the signs of desperate resistance, the awful silence that followed. He'd been too slow then, too confident in his reputation, too certain his enemies wouldn't dare touch what was his. He'd been wrong, and Lucia had paid the price. Boss, Dante's voice cuts through the memory. He's standing near the bedroom doorway, his face pale. You need to see this. Angelo turns, keeping Brenda behind him. Stay here with Marco, he tells her gently. Then to Marco, don't let her see anything else. He walks to the bedroom, and what he finds there turns his blood to ice. The bedroom walls are covered in children's drawings, colorful crayon, pictures of flowers and rainbows and stick figure families. Brenda's artwork, her innocent imagination on display, but someone has defiled it. Spray painted across the wall, in stark black letters large enough to consume half the room, is a message. Come find what you lost. Angelo stares at those words, his breathing shallow. The phrasing is too specific, too personal. This isn't generic criminal taunting. This is someone who knows, someone who remembers, someone who wants him to understand that this is revenge, deliberate, calculated, intimate revenge. His mind races back 18 years to the warehouse where they found Lucia's body. The same message had been carved into the wall above her. The same 5 words that haunted him through countless sleepless nights. Words left by La Mano Scura, the Dark Hand, the organization he'd spent 3 years systematically destroying. He'd killed their leader, Vincenzo Vescari, with his bare hands. He'd hunted down every lieutenant, every soldier, every associate. He'd burned their operations to the ground and salted the earth behind him. He'd made certain that La Mano Scura was extinct. But extinction is never guaranteed in this world. Not when revenge burns across generations. Angelo pulls out his phone and dials a number he hasn't called in months. It rings twice before a gravelly voice answers. Angelo? It's past midnight. This better be Enzo. Angelo's voice is cold as death. I need information. Now. Everything you have on La Mano Scura. Every rumor, every whisper, every ghost story about them operating again. There's a long pause on the other end. Enzo is one of Angelo's oldest informants, a man who survived 40 years in the Underworld by knowing everything about everyone. Angelo, La Mano Scura is gone. You made sure of that. Why are you? Because they just took an innocent woman. Angelo's voice drops to something dangerous. Because they used a child as bait. Because someone left me a message I haven't seen in 18 years. He turns away from the spray-painted wall, his jaw locked. So either they're not as dead as we thought, or someone's wearing their skin. Either way, I need names. Tonight. I'll make calls, Enzo says quickly. Give me an hour. Angelo hangs up and returns to the living room. Brenda sits on the overturned couch, Marco standing guard beside her. Her eyes find Angelo immediately, searching his face for hope. Did you find something? She asks in a small voice. Angelo crouches down to her eye level, his expression softening just slightly. I found exactly what I needed to find. The men who took your mother, they're not random criminals, Brenda. They have a name. They have a history. And that means they have patterns, weaknesses, places they hide. Can you find Mama? He sees Lucia's face superimposed over Brenda's. He sees the second chance he never thought he'd get. He sees the child he failed to save all those years ago when Lucia died carrying their unborn baby. This time will be different. Yes, Angelo says, and means it with every fiber of his being. I will find your mother. I promise you that. But even as he makes that promise, a darker truth settles in his chest like a stone. Whoever took Brenda's mother didn't do it for ransom. They did it to draw him into the open. They did it to finish what started 18 years ago. And this time, they're betting he cares enough to walk straight into their trap. They're right. Angelo's phone buzzes exactly 53 minutes later. He's been pacing the small apartment like a caged predator, his mind running through every possible scenario, every strategic angle, every mistake he can't afford to make. Brenda sits curled up on the couch Marco managed to write, wrapped in a blanket one of the neighbors reluctantly provided. She hasn't slept. She won't sleep until her mother is home. Talk to me, Enzo. Angelo answers on the first ring, stepping into the hallway for privacy. You're not gonna like this. Enzo's voice carries the weight of bad news. I made calls to every source I have from here to Philadelphia. Nobody's heard the name La Mano Scura in 15 years. But, he pauses significantly. 3 days ago, a surveillance van was spotted outside a property in the industrial district. The van belonged to a shell company that dissolved in 2007 right after you took down Viscari. Angelo's pulse quickens. Which property? The old Castellano textile mill. It's been abandoned for a decade, condemned by the city. But 2 of my street contacts say they've seen unusual activity there this week. Vehicles coming and going at night. Men who don't look like squatters or scrappers. Send me the address. Already done. But Angelo. Enzo's tone turns serious. If this really is La Mano Scura, if somehow they've reorganized, you're walking into exactly what they want. They're baiting you. I know. Angelo's voice is granite hard. Send me everything you have on the mill's layout. Every entrance, every exit, every structural weakness. He ends the call and returns to the apartment. Marco looks up expectantly while Dante finishes securing the perimeter. Brenda's eyes track Angelo's every movement, desperate for good news. We have a location, Angelo announces. Marco, get the crew together. I want 12 men. Full tactical gear. Dante, contact Russo, tell him to pull up building schematics and security camera footage within a 6-block radius of the old textile mill on Morrison Street. Marco's eyebrows raise slightly. You're mobilizing the whole unit for this? I'm mobilizing whatever it takes. Angelo's tone brooks no argument. Move. As his men spring into action, making calls and coordinating logistics, Angelo walks over to Brenda. He sits down beside her on the couch, and she immediately leans against him, her small body still trembling. Are you going to get her now? She whispers. Angelo wants to tell her to stay here, to wait with Marco or one of his other trusted men. But when he looks down at her face, at the fear and determination warring in her young eyes, he recognizes something he's seen in his own mirror 1,000 times. She won't stay behind. She can't. The not knowing would destroy her. He remembers being 14 when his own father was taken. He remembers the agony of waiting, of being told to stay put, of feeling helpless while the adults handled things. He'd snuck out anyway, followed them, and witnessed things no teenager should see. But he'd needed to be there, needed to know. Brenda has that same desperate need written all over her face. You're going to stay very close to me, Angelo says quietly. You're going to do exactly what I say, when I say it. And if I tell you to hide, you hide. Understood? She nods rapidly, relief flooding her features. I promise. I'll be good. I can't stay here without knowing. I know. He gently squeezes her shoulder. I know exactly how you feel. 20 minutes later, they're moving through the city in a convoy of 3 vehicles. Angelo rides in the lead car with Brenda pressed against his side, while Marco drives and Dante coordinates with the teams in the vehicles behind them. The streets blur past, neon signs and darkened storefronts giving way to industrial zones and abandoned lots. Angelo's mind won't stop replaying the past. The last time he'd followed a lead on Lucia's location, he'd brought 30 men. He'd been methodical, cautious, strategic, and he'd still arrived too late. The warehouse had been empty except for her body, and that message carved into the wall. Come find what you lost. He'd lost everything that night. His future, his family, every soft part of himself that might have become something other than what he is now. Brenda's voice interrupts his dark thoughts. Mr. Angelo? Just Angelo is fine. Angelo. She looks up at him, her young face impossibly serious. When you find Mama, will the bad men hurt you? It's such an innocent question, asked with genuine concern for his safety. No one has worried about Angelo Greco's well-being in 18 years. His men follow him out of loyalty and fear, not love. His enemies respect his power, not his humanity. But this child, this brave, terrified little girl, is worried that he might get hurt trying to save her mother. Something cracks deeper in the walls around his heart. They're going to try, Angelo answers honestly. But I've been doing this a long time, Brenda, and I'm very good at it. Mama says violence doesn't solve anything. Angelo almost smiles. Your mother is a wise woman. But sometimes, he chooses his words carefully. Sometimes violence is the only language certain people understand. And tonight, I need to speak that language very clearly, so those men never hurt anyone again. The car turns onto Morrison Street, and the textile mill looms ahead like a concrete tombstone against the night sky. Its broken windows stare down at them like dead eyes. Rusted fire escapes cling to its sides like skeletal fingers. This is the kind of place where terrible things happen and no one hears the screams. Marco pulls the car to a stop 2 blocks away. The other vehicles park strategically, men emerging with weapons concealed beneath jackets and coats. This is Angelo's army, loyal, lethal, waiting for his command. Angelo looks down at Brenda one more time. Last chance to stay in the car. She shakes her head firmly. I'm staying with you. He nods, accepting her decision. Then he turns to his men with an expression that promises blood and retribution. No one leaves that building alive unless they're hostages or cooperating witnesses. And if anyone has hurt that woman, his voice drops to something sub-zero. Make them regret drawing breath. His men nod, faces grim with understanding. Angelo Greco is done playing defense. Tonight, he reminds the Underworld why his name still makes grown men nervous. Tonight, he goes to war. The textile mill's exterior is a graveyard of industrial ambition. Rusted metal siding, shattered windows, graffiti tags layered over decades of decay. Angelo moves toward it like a shadow given human form, Brenda's hand clasped firmly in his. Marco and 4 other men flank them, weapons drawn, eyes scanning every darkened corner. Thermal imaging shows 3 heat signatures on the ground floor, Dante whispers through Angelo's earpiece. 2 more on the 2nd level, east side. No sign of additional hostages. Angelo processes this information with cold calculation. 5 men isn't nearly enough for a serious kidnapping operation. Which means this location is exactly what he suspected, a breadcrumb, not the destination. They want him to find this place. They want him to come inside. He's going in anyway. Marco, take 2 men around back. Don't engage unless I give the signal. Dante, you're with me. Angelo looks down at Brenda. You stay behind me. Always. If shooting starts, you get on the ground and cover your head. Understand? She nods, her face pale but determined. They approach a side entrance where the door hangs askew, the lock long since broken. Angelo tests it carefully. No tripwires, no obvious traps. Too easy. Everything about this screams ambush, but he's out of choices and running out of time. The interior is worse than the exterior. The main floor stretches into darkness, broken machinery casting twisted shadows across oil-stained concrete. Ancient textile equipment looms, spinning frames, cutting tables, sits abandoned like the bones of some industrial dinosaur. The air reeks of mildew, rust, and something else, something metallic and fresh. Blood. Angelo's hand moves to the gun at his waist. He advances carefully, each footstep deliberate and silent. Brenda clings to the back of his jacket, her breathing quick and shallow. Dante moves parallel to them, weapon raised, covering their blind spots. Contact, 12 o'clock, Dante whispers. Angelo sees him, a figure slumped against a support beam 30 feet ahead. As they get closer, Angelo realizes it's a man, late 20s, unconscious or dead. His face is swollen and bruised, hands zip-tied behind his back. One of the kidnappers? Maybe. Or another victim staged to draw them deeper. Angelo kneels beside the man, checking for a pulse. Alive. Barely. He's been beaten savagely, recently. Angelo grabs him by the collar and shakes him awake. The man's eyes flutter open, unfocused and terrified. Where is she? Angelo's voice is ice and razors. The woman you took. Where? The man's split lips work soundlessly at first, then words tumble out in a panicked rush. Gone. They moved her. I swear I don't know where. He's crying now, blood and tears mixing on his ruined face. Please, man. They said you'd kill us all. They said this was just the start. Who said? Angelo tightens his grip, lifting the man partially off the ground. Who's running this operation? I don't know his name, I swear. They hired us 3 days ago. Cash job. Just grab the woman and bring her to the warehouse on. He chokes, gasping for air. They beat me when I asked too many questions. Said I was just muscle. Didn't need to know the plan. Angelo's jaw clenches. Hired thugs. Disposable criminals with no real connection to the organization pulling the strings. Classic misdirection. What warehouse? Where did they take her? Morrison and 8th, the old Castellano ware. The man's eyes suddenly widen with pure terror, looking past Angelo at something behind him. Oh God, no. Angelo spins, pushing Brenda behind him in the same motion, his gun coming up. The shot cracks through the darkness like thunder. The man behind Angelo jerks once and slumps sideways, a neat hole in his forehead, dead before he hits the ground. The shot came from the 2nd level, precisely aimed, professionally executed. Someone just silenced their own man to keep him from talking. Down! Angelo roars, dragging Brenda behind a massive industrial loom as bullets explode around them. Chunks of concrete spray into the air. Metal screams as rounds punch through ancient machinery. Dante returns fire, muzzle flash lighting up the darkness. More shots answer from multiple positions. They're surrounded. At least 4 shooters positioned throughout the mill. This isn't an ambush. It's a slaughter box. Angelo's mind races through options while his body moves on instinct. He pulls Brenda into the tightest possible cover, shielding her with his own body. She's sobbing now, hands over her ears, the reality of violence crashing down on her childhood innocence. Marco, we're pinned down, Angelo shouts into his mic. East entrance, now. The shooting intensifies. Angelo risks a glance around the loom and catches sight of a figure on the catwalk above tactical gear, professional stance, military-grade weapons. Not street thugs. These are trained killers. La Manoscura didn't just survive. They evolved. Another burst of gunfire forces Angelo back into cover, He feels Brenda trembling against him, hears her whispering, "Mama, Mama, Mama," like a prayer. Then, cutting through the chaos, Angelo's earpiece crackles with Marco's voice. "Boss, we found something. There's a van out back, still warm, recently departed. And there's..." A pause. "There's blood in the cargo area. Fresh." Angelo's entire body goes cold. They were here. Brenda's mother was here. In this building. Possibly within the last hour. And while Angelo was walking into their trap, they moved her to the real location. A phone rings somewhere in the darkness. The shooting stops abruptly, silence rushing in like a physical presence. Angelo's ears ring from the gunfire. Brenda whimpers against his chest. The phone keeps ringing, tinny and insistent. A voice calls out from the shadows, calm, amused, utterly confident. "You should answer that, Greco. It's for you." Angelo spots the phone lying on a workbench 15 feet away, its screen glowing in the darkness. Every instinct screams trap, but he's out of options. He moves quickly, keeping Brenda behind him, and grabs the phone. The moment he answers, a voice from his nightmares fills his ear. "Hello, Angelo. It's been too long." The voice is young but carries old hatred. Angelo's blood turns to ice as recognition hits him like a sledgehammer. "Impossible," he breathes. The voice laughs dark, triumphant, filled with satisfaction. "My father sent you his regards from hell. And now it's my turn. Did you really think the Vescari bloodline ended with him? Adriano Vescari, Vincenzo's son. The boy who would have been barely 10 years old when Angelo killed his father. Where is she?" Angelo's voice shakes with barely contained rage. "Safe. For now. But Angelo." The young man's tone shifts, becoming almost playful. "Your past is very much alive, and this time, you're going to lose everything all over again. Only this time, you'll watch it happen." The line goes dead. Angelo stands in the darkness of the textile mill, surrounded by enemies, holding a terrified child, and realizes with perfect clarity that he's not hunting La Mano Scura. They've been hunting him all along. And before we go deeper into this heart-stopping story, don't forget to subscribe because no child should ever have to face danger alone, and your support helps bring more stories like this to light. The shooting resumes the moment Angelo drops the phone. Muzzle flashes light up the textile mill like deadly fireworks as Marco and his team breach through the back entrance, turning the ambush into a full firefight. Angelo doesn't wait to see how it ends. He's already moving, Brenda clutched against his chest, running toward the exit while Dante and his men provide covering fire. They burst out into the night air, Brenda's face buried against Angelo's shoulder. Behind them, the sounds of combat echo through the abandoned building, shouts, gunfire, the crack of bone meeting concrete. Angelo's men are cleaning house, but it doesn't matter anymore. The real enemy isn't in that building. He reaches the Mercedes and practically throws himself into the back seat with Brenda, his mind racing faster than his pulse. "Drive!" he barks at the backup driver. Morrison and 8th, the Castellano warehouse complex. Now, the car tears away from the curb, tires screaming against asphalt. Brenda is hyperventilating, her small body racked with shock and terror. Angelo holds her, one hand on her back, while his other hand is already dialing Enzo again. "The Castellano warehouse on Morrison and 8th, Angelo says the moment Enzo answers. "Everything you have on it. Who owns it, what's stored there, every access point." "Angelo, slow down." "I don't have time to slow down." His voice cracks with barely controlled fury. "Adriano Vescari is alive, Vincenzo's son. He's been planning this for years, and I walked straight into his opening move. Now tell me about that warehouse." There's a shocked silence on the other end, then the rapid clicking of keyboard keys. "Jesus Christ. Okay. The Castellano warehouse was sold to a holding company in 2019. The holding company traces back to... Oh hell, Angelo. It's a ghost corporation. No real owners, no paper trail. But the property taxes have been paid on time every year. Someone's maintaining it. How big? 30,000 square feet across 2 floors. Originally used for cold storage. It backs up to the river on the east side. Rail access on the west. Multiple loading bays, reinforced steel doors, security cameras that were installed 3 years ago. 3 years. Adriano has been preparing this location for 3 years, right under Angelo's nose. The realization burns like acid in his gut. How many other pieces has Vescari's son put into place while Angelo thought the war was over? "I'm sending you everything I have," Enzo continues. "But Angelo, this is it. This is the trap. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. He wants you to come. He's counting on it. Then he'll get what he wants. Angelo's voice drops to something subhuman, something forged in the darkest chambers of his soul. Call everyone. Every favor I'm owed, every alliance I've built, every gun that owes me loyalty. I want them at that warehouse within the hour. You're going to war. The war already started. I'm just finishing it. Angelo hangs up and looks down at Brenda. Her tears have slowed, but her eyes are glazed with shock. She's seen too much, experienced too much, been dragged through a nightmare no child should ever witness. And yet she hasn't let go of him. Even now, terrified and traumatized, she trusts him to make this right. Brenda. He gently tilts her chin up so she's looking at him. Listen to me very carefully. The men who took your mother, they're not just criminals. They're very dangerous people who want to hurt me. They took your mother because they knew you'd come to me. They knew I would help you. Because of what happened to you before, she whispers. Because you lost someone too. Angelo's breath catches. This child, barely 7 years old, has somehow understood the entire architecture of his pain without him saying a word. Yes, a long time ago. And I wasn't fast enough to save her. His jaw tightens. But I will save your mother. I promise you that. But you can't come with me this time. What's about to happen, it's going to be very violent. And I need to focus completely on getting her out alive. Where will I go? Somewhere safe. With people I trust. He's already sent a text to Rosa, an elderly woman who's worked for his family for 30 years. She runs a small bakery on the south side, far from the world of violence that defines his life. She's one of the few purely good people Angelo has ever known. Her name is Rosa. She used to make cookies for me when I was young. She'll take care of you until this is over. Brenda's lower lip trembles. You promise you'll come back? You promise you'll bring Mama? Angelo wants to promise. He wants to guarantee it with absolute certainty. But he's learned the hard way that promises mean nothing when you're walking into a trap designed specifically to kill you. Still, looking down at this brave little girl who ran through the streets to find him, who trusted him when she had no reason to, he can't bring himself to offer anything less than hope. I will do everything in my power to bring your mother back to you, he says quietly. And I will not stop until either she's safe or I'm dead. That's the only promise I can make. She throws her arms around his neck, hugging him with desperate strength. Please don't die, she whispers. I don't want to lose you too. Something breaks completely inside Angelo Greco's chest, something he didn't know still existed. For 18 years, he's been a ghost haunting his own life, going through the motions of survival without actually living. But this child, in her innocence and her courage, has reminded him what it feels like to matter to someone. To be needed not for his power or his cruelty, but for his humanity. The car pulls up to Rosa's bakery. Angelo carries Brenda to the door, which opens before he can knock. Rosa stands there, her weathered face creased with concern, her arms already opening to receive the child. Keep her safe, Angelo says simply. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens tonight, keep her safe. Rosa nods, understanding everything he isn't saying. She's known him since he was Brenda's age. She knows exactly what kind of demon he's about to become. Angelo kisses the top of Brenda's head, a gesture so foreign to him that he almost doesn't recognize his own hand doing it. Then he turns and walks back to the car without looking back, because if he looks back, he might lose the cold rage he needs to survive the next few hours. The Mercedes speeds toward Morrison and 8th, toward the warehouse where Adriano Vescari is waiting, toward the confrontation that will either end the Vescari bloodline forever or add Angelo's name to the list of men who underestimated their enemies. Behind him, Brenda watches from Rosa's window, her small hand pressed against the glass. Ahead of him, the warehouse looms in the distance like a tombstone with his name already carved into it. The warehouse district transforms into a war zone within 40 minutes. Angelo's Mercedes is no longer alone. 7 vehicles converge on Morrison, an 8th from different directions, black SUVs, unmarked sedans, even a cargo van that looks civilian but carries enough firepower to level a city block. These aren't just Angelo's regular crew. These are the men he calls when kingdoms need to fall. Salvatore, the butcher. Marchetti arrives from Boston with 6 of his most vicious enforcers. Tommy Chen brings his Chinatown network street smart, ruthless, loyal to Angelo, since he helped Tommy's family escape a rival gang 5 years ago. Even Vincent DeLuca, who runs the docks and usually stays out of Angelo's business, shows up with a dozen longshoremen who know how to make bodies disappear into the river. This is the full weight of Angelo Greco's empire mobilized for a single rescue operation. The Mercedes stops 2 blocks from the warehouse. Angelo steps out into the humid night air, his phone already pressed to his ear as his small army assembles around him. The men check weapons, secure body armor, move with the practiced efficiency of soldiers preparing for combat. "Russo, talk to me," Angelo says into the phone. "What am I walking into?" On the other end, Russo, his tech specialist, types frantically. "I've hacked the security cameras in a 3-block radius. The warehouse has been dark for 20 minutes. No movement on the exterior. But thermal imaging is being blocked. They've got signal jammers running inside. I can't see what's waiting in there. How many entrances? 4 loading bays on the west side. Main entrance on the north. Emergency exits on the east near the river. And a rooftop access through the old ventilation system." Russo pauses. "Boss, this whole setup screams kill box. They've had years to prepare that building. Every entrance could be wired. Every corridor a death trap. Then we don't use the doors." Angelo's mind works through the problem with cold precision. "The east wall backs up to the river, right? What's the structural integrity like?" "It's old concrete and steel framing. Reinforced, but not impenetrable." "You're thinking of breaching through the wall?" "I'm thinking of making them defend 6 directions at once. They're expecting me to walk through the front door like a fool. Instead, we're coming through the walls, the roof, and the river access simultaneously. Spread their forces thin, create chaos, exploit the confusion." Angelo ends the call and turns to face his assembled army. 43 men, all hardened criminals, all willing to die on his word. They watch him with a mixture of respect and fear, waiting for orders that will likely send some of them to their graves. "Listen up," Angelo's voice cuts through the night like a blade. "Inside that warehouse is an innocent woman who was taken to draw me out. The men holding her are remnants of La Mano Scura, the same organization we thought we buried 18 years ago. They've been rebuilding in the shadows, waiting for this moment. Tonight, we remind them why that organization died in the first place." He points to Tommy Chen. "Tommy, take your team through the rooftop ventilation system. You're my eyes inside radio positions and numbers the moment you have eyes on the target." Tommy nods sharply. "Salvatore, you're breaching the east wall with the cargo van. Ram it if you have to. Make noise, draw attention, create panic. They'll think that's the main assault." The butcher grins savagely. "My pleasure. Vincent, your dock workers know the river better than anyone. Take them through the east emergency exits from the water side. Silent approach, no contact until you hear my signal." Vincent cracks his knuckles. "Consider it done." Angelo looks at Marco, his most trusted lieutenant, the man who stood beside him through 15 years of bloodshed. "You're with me. We're walking through the front door after all." Marco's eyes widen slightly. "Boss, that's suicide." "That's exactly what Adriano expects me to think. He's prepared for me to be cautious, strategic, careful. So we're going to do the one thing he won't expect. We're going to walk in like we own the place. Because we do." Angelo's smile is all teeth and no warmth. He wants a confrontation? He's about to get one he'll never forget. The men disperse to their positions. Angelo watches them go, knowing some won't survive the night. This weighs on him more than it used to. Before tonight, before Brenda, he could sacrifice men like chess pieces without hesitation. But something has shifted inside him. He sees them as someone's father, someone's brother, someone's friend. People who matter to someone the way he now matters to a terrified little girl waiting in a bakery. His phone buzzes. A text from Rosa. She won't sleep. Keeps asking if you're okay. Angelo stares at those words, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him like a physical force. Brenda is waiting for him, trusting him, believing in him. And somewhere in that warehouse, her mother is waiting too, terrified, probably injured, definitely wondering if anyone is coming to save her. He thinks of Lucia, of how he failed her, of arriving too late, of finding only blood and regret, and that goddamn message carved into the wall. Not this time. This time, he'll burn the entire city down before he lets another innocent woman die because of his past. Marco approaches, fully armed, his expression grim but determined. The teams are in position. Tommy's group is on the roof. Salvatore's ready to breach. Vincent's in the water. We're good to go whenever you give the word. Angelo takes a deep breath, centering himself in the cold rage that's kept him alive for 18 years. He checks his weapon one final time, a custom. 45 that's taken more lives than he can count. Tonight, it'll take a few more. One more thing, Angelo says quietly, his eyes locked on the warehouse looming in the darkness. If I don't make it out, I need you to promise me something. Marco's jaw tightens. Boss, promise me you'll take care of Brenda and her mother. Get them out of the city. New identities. Enough money to start over somewhere safe. Make sure they never have to look over their shoulders again. You're going to make it out. Promise me, Marco. Marco's voice is rough with emotion. I promise. Angelo nods once, then keys his radio. All teams, this is Greco. We move in 3 minutes. Remember, the woman we're rescuing is an innocent civilian. She doesn't get hurt. She doesn't even get scared if we can help it. Everyone else in that building is a target. No mercy, no prisoners, no hesitation. We go in fast, we hit hard, and we bring her home. Acknowledge. One by one, the team leaders confirm. Angelo starts walking toward the warehouse, Marco falling into step beside him. Behind them, the cargo van's engine roars to life. Above them, Tommy's team drops through the ventilation shafts. Around them, the night holds its breath. The front entrance of the warehouse stands before them, massive steel doors, slightly ajar, darkness waiting beyond like an open mouth. Angelo doesn't slow down, doesn't hesitate, doesn't second guess. He kicks the doors open and walks straight into hell. The warehouse interior is a cathedral of shadows and rust. Industrial lights flicker overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow illumination that makes the space feel both enormous and claustrophobic. Old storage racks line the walls, climbing 3 stories high. The floor is open concrete, stained with decades of oil and chemicals and things Angelo doesn't want to identify. And standing in the center of this industrial wasteland, perfectly positioned, perfectly calm, is Adriano Vescari. He's younger than Angelo expected, maybe 30 at most. Dressed in an expensive black suit that seems obscene in this decrepit setting. His dark hair is slicked back, his face angular and handsome in a cruel way. He could pass for a corporate executive or a fashion model, but his eyes give him away. They're his father's eyes, cold, calculating, filled with the kind of hatred that ferments across decades. Behind him, tied to a chair bolted to the floor, is Brenda's mother. She's alive, bruised, terrified, tape across her mouth, but alive. Her eyes widen when she sees Angelo, hope and fear warring across her battered face. Blood has dried on her temple where someone hit her. Her wrists are raw from struggling against the zip ties binding her to the chair. Angelo's hand tightens on his weapon, but he doesn't raise it. Not yet. Around the perimeter of the warehouse, he can see Adriano's men, at least 20 of them, positioned behind cover, weapons trained on the entrances. Professional soldiers, not street thugs. This isn't a gang. This is a paramilitary operation. Angelo Greco. Adriano's voice echoes through the cavernous space, cultured and educated, nothing like his father's street-hardened growl. You're even more predictable than I expected. Walk right in. No subtlety, no caution, just raw arrogance. Let her go, Adriano. Angelo's voice is steady, cold as winter. She's got nothing to do with this. Your problem is with me. My problem was with you. Adriano steps closer to the bound woman, his hand resting casually on the back of her chair. 18 years ago, you killed my father. You destroyed our organization. You hunted down everyone I knew and loved. You left me an orphan at 10 years old. His smile is razor thin. Do you have any idea what that does to a child? To watch your whole world burn and know the man responsible is celebrated as a hero in the underworld? Your father was a monster who murdered innocents. He killed my fiancé. He killed my unborn child. He got exactly what he deserved. So did Lucia. The name drops like a bomb into the space between them. She was collateral damage in a war you started, Angelo. Just like this woman is collateral damage now. Just like that little girl you've gotten so attached to. It's poetic, really. History repeating itself. Only this time, I control how it ends. Angelo's finger moves to his trigger. You touch that woman, and you won't leave this building in pieces large enough to identify. I don't need to touch her. Adriano pulls out a remote detonator from his pocket, letting it dangle casually from his fingers. I've rigged this entire warehouse with enough C4 to level 3 city blocks. The moment I press this button, everyone inside dies. Me, you, her, all your men trying to sneak in through the roof and the walls and the river. He laughs at Angelo's expression. Did you think I didn't know? I've been watching you mobilize your entire network for the past hour. This warehouse has more cameras than a casino. Marco's voice crackles through Angelo's earpiece. Boss, he's not bluffing. Tommy just spotted the charges, they're everywhere. We need to evacuate now. But Angelo doesn't move. He stands there, staring at the young man holding a detonator, holding an innocent woman hostage, holding all the cards. And he realizes something fundamental. Adriano doesn't want to blow up the warehouse. If he did, He would have done it already. He wants something else. Something personal. You're not going to press that button, Angelo says quietly. Oh? And why not? Because this isn't about revenge. It's about proving something. Angelo takes a slow step forward. You spent 18 years building yourself into something that could challenge me. You rebuilt your father's organization, recruited trained killers, planned this operation down to the last detail. You didn't do all that just to blow us both up. You want to beat me. You want me to watch you win. You want me to feel what you felt when I destroyed your world. Adriano's smile falters slightly. Angelo has struck a nerve. So here's what's going to happen, Angelo continues, his voice dropping to something dangerous and deadly calm. You're going to put down that detonator. You're going to release that woman. And then you and I are going to settle this the way men settle things without innocence in the crossfire. One-on-one. No weapons. No backup. Just you and me, finishing what our fathers started. The warehouse goes absolutely silent. Even Adriano's soldiers seem to hold their breath, watching their young leader process this challenge. Angelo can see the war happening behind those cold eyes, the rational part that knows this is a trap, and the emotional part that's waited 18 years to personally destroy Angelo Greco. Pride wins. It always does with young men trying to prove themselves. Fine. Adriano sets the detonator on a crate. Carefully, deliberately. But when I kill you, Angelo, I want you to know something. That little girl you've been protecting? The one who ran to you for help? His smile returns, vicious and cruel. I'm going to find her. I'm going to make her watch while I hurt her mother. And then I'm going to make sure she grows up the way I did, knowing that the person she trusted most failed her when it mattered. That's when Angelo stops being human. He moves with a speed that seems impossible for a man his size. His gun drops to the floor. His hands reach for Adriano before the young crime lord can react. They collide in the center of the warehouse. 2 generations of hatred meeting in violence so pure it's almost beautiful. Adriano is younger, faster, trained in modern combat techniques. But Angelo is a survivor, forged in wars that predated Adriano's birth. He fights with the brutal efficiency of someone who's killed more men than he can count, someone for whom violence is a second language. They crash through storage racks. Fists connect with bone. Blood sprays across concrete. Around them, the soldiers tense but hold their fire. Their leader commanded a fair fight, and they're bound to honor it even as they watch him struggle. Angelo takes hits that would drop most men. Adriano is skilled, landing strikes to his ribs, his jaw, his kidneys. But Angelo doesn't feel pain anymore. He feels only the overwhelming need to end this threat, to make sure Brenda and her mother are safe, to finally put the Vescari bloodline in the ground where it belongs. He catches Adriano's next punch, twists the arm with savage precision, and drives his elbow into the younger man's face. Cartilage crunches. Blood explodes from Adriano's nose. Angelo follows with a knee to the ribs, then a headbutt that drops Adriano to the concrete. "This is for Lucia," Angelo growls, landing a brutal kick to Adriano's side. The young crime lord tries to rise, but Angelo is already on him, hands wrapping around his throat, squeezing with 18 years of rage and grief channeled into pure killing intent. Adriano's eyes bulge. His hands claw at Angelo's arms, drawing blood, leaving scratches that Angelo doesn't even feel. The soldiers shift nervously, fingers on triggers, waiting to see if they need to intervene. "Boss," Marco's voice in his earpiece. "The charges are real. If anyone shoots, we all die. End this now." Angelo leans close to Adriano's face, close enough to see the fear finally entering those cold eyes. "You wanted to know what it feels like to lose everything?" Angelo's voice is barely human. "Now you know." He squeezes harder. Adriano's struggles weaken. His face turns purple, then blue. Life drains from him like water from a broken vessel. And just before Adriano Vescari dies, Angelo whispers, "Your father felt the same way." He releases the body. Adriano collapses to the concrete, lifeless, empty. Just another corpse in a war that should have ended decades ago. The warehouse explodes into chaos. Adriano's soldiers react, weapons coming up, but they're too late. Tommy's team drops from above. Salvatore's group breaches through the east wall. Vincent's dock workers pour in from the river access. Angelo's entire army engages simultaneously, turning the warehouse into a war zone. But Angelo doesn't participate. He's already running toward the woman tied to the chair, his knife flashing as he cuts through the zip ties, tears the tape from her mouth gently despite the urgency. "Are you hurt?" His voice is soft now, protective. "Can you walk?" She nods frantically, tears streaming down her face. "My daughter, Brenda," Is she? She's safe. She's waiting for you. Angelo lifts her as gunfire echoes around them, carrying her toward the exit like she weighs nothing. I promised her I'd bring you home. The bakery's warm lights feel like sanctuary after the darkness of the warehouse. Angelo carries Brenda's mother through the door at 3:47 a.m., her arms wrapped around his neck, her body shaking with exhaustion and relief and trauma that will take years to process. Rosa meets them at the entrance, her weathered face creased with concern, already moving to help. But before anyone can speak, before Rosa can even offer water or bandages, a small figure launches herself from the back room. Mama. Brenda crashes into them with the force of every terrified prayer and desperate hope compressed into one 7-year-old body. Angelo carefully sets her mother down, and the moment her feet touch the floor, she's on her knees, gathering her daughter into her arms, both of them crying so hard they can barely breathe. Baby, I'm here. I'm okay. I'm here. The mother's voice breaks on every word, her hands frantically checking Brenda for injuries, stroking her hair, pulling her close as if she'll never let go again. I thought they killed you, Brenda sobs into her mother's shoulder. I thought you were gone and I'd be alone and… Never, baby. I'm never leaving you. Angelo steps back, giving them space, giving them this moment that he never got with Lucia. Rosa appears beside him with a first aid kit, but he waves it away. His injuries can wait. Everything can wait. Right now, all that matters is this reunion, this proof that he didn't fail, that he didn't arrive too late, that for once in his goddamn life he saved someone who mattered. Marco enters behind him, blood on his jacket, exhaustion in his eyes, but alive. Warehouse is secure. 15 enemy casualties, 3 wounded and in custody. We lost 2 men, Carmine and young Tony, 6 others wounded, none critical. He pauses. Adriano Vescari is dead. His organization is broken. It's over, boss. Angelo nods slowly, processing. 2 of his men dead, because he chose to save a woman and child he barely knew. 2 families who'll get notification that their father, their brother, their son isn't coming home. The weight of that sits heavy on his chest, heavier than it used to. Make sure their families are taken care of, Angelo says quietly. Triple the usual death benefit. College funds for any kids. Whatever they need, they get it. They died for something that mattered. Understood. Marco hesitates. Boss, what you did tonight, walking into that trap, mobilizing the entire network for civilians. The other families are going to talk. They're going to say you've gone soft, that you're compromised. Let them talk. Angelo's voice is steel wrapped in exhaustion. I've been called worse. Rosa brings warm blankets, hot tea, cookies that Brenda's mother probably couldn't stomach right now, but the gesture means everything. She wraps the blanket around the mother and daughter, clucking like a concerned grandmother. Already falling into the role of protector and comforter, Brenda finally pulls back from her mother long enough to look around the room, her eyes searching until they land on Angelo. Her face transforms terror melting into relief blooming into something that looks dangerously close to hero worship. You came back, she breathes. You really came back. I promised you I would. She extricates herself from her mother's arms and runs to Angelo, throwing herself at him with complete trust. He catches her automatically, lifting her small frame, feeling her arms wrap around his neck in a hug that threatens to undo every carefully constructed wall he has left. Thank you, she whispers into his ear. Thank you for saving my mama. Thank you for not dying. Thank you for being the strongest person I know. Angelo closes his eyes, his arms tightening around this brave little girl who changed everything. You saved her too, Brenda. You're the one who ran for help. You're the one who refused to give up. You're stronger than you know. When Brenda finally releases him and returns to her mother, the woman looks up at Angelo with tears streaming down her bruised face. She's maybe 35, with kind eyes and the worn hands of someone who works hard for every dollar. Not the kind of person who should ever cross paths with someone like Angelo Greco. I don't even know how to thank you, she manages, her voice raw. You risked everything for us. You barely know us. Why would you? Because 18 years ago, I couldn't save someone who mattered to me. Angelo's voice is rough with emotion. He usually keeps buried. And your daughter gave me a chance to do what I should have done then, to be fast enough, to be strong enough, to actually save someone instead of just avenging them. The mother reaches out, takes his scarred, blood-stained hand in both of hers. What's your name? Your real name? Angelo Greco. Her eyes widen slightly. She knows that name, knows what it means in this city. But instead of fear, she shows only gratitude. Angelo, I'm Patricia. Patricia Chen. She squeezes his hand. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, you call me. My life, my daughter's life, they're yours. We owe you everything. Angelo wants to tell her she owes him nothing, wants to say this was his debt to pay, not hers to carry. But the earnestness in her face, the fierce gratitude, won't accept deflection. Just be safe, he says finally. Take care of each other. That's all the payment I need. He stands to leave, every muscle in his body screaming, exhaustion pulling at him like gravity. Marco moves to follow, but Angelo pauses at the door. He looks back one more time at Brenda and Patricia, at this small family he's somehow become tangled with, at the life he saved instead of destroyed. Brenda waves at him, a small smile breaking through her tear-streaked face. He waves back, then steps out into the pre-dawn darkness. But he doesn't get far. Patricia's voice stops him. Wait. She's standing in the doorway, Brenda clutching her hand, both of them backlit by Rosa's warm bakery. You said you couldn't save someone 18 years ago. That's why you helped us. She takes a breath. But who's going to save you, Angelo? Who do you have? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Angelo doesn't have an answer. For 18 years, he's survived without needing anyone, without wanting anyone, without letting anyone close enough to matter. He's built an empire on fear and loneliness, convinced himself that isolation was strength. But standing here, looking at this woman and child who somehow care whether he lives or dies, he realizes how desperately empty his life has become. I don't need saving, he says, but even he doesn't believe it. Patricia smiles sadly. Everyone needs saving sometimes, even the strongest people. She glances at Brenda, then back at Angelo. You know where to find us. When you're ready to stop being alone, we'll be here. She takes Brenda back inside, closing the door gently, leaving Angelo standing on the empty street as dawn begins to break over the city. For the first time in 18 years, Angelo Greco feels something other than emptiness. He feels possibility. 3 weeks pass before Angelo returns to the bakery. He tells himself he's busy cleaning up the remnants of La Mano Scura, dealing with rival families who saw the warehouse battle as an opportunity to test his strength, managing the fallout from losing 2 soldiers. He tells himself Patricia and Brenda need time to recover, to process their trauma, to rebuild their sense of safety without his dangerous world intruding. But the truth is simpler and more terrifying. He's afraid. Afraid of getting attached. Afraid of caring about someone again. Afraid that the moment he lets them into his life, the universe will take them away the way it took Lucia. It's Rosa who finally calls him, her voice gentle but insistent. The girl asks about you every day. The mother too. They're doing better. Patricia's back at work. Brenda's seeing a therapist, but they need closure. Angelo, they need to know you're all right. So on a Tuesday evening, exactly 3 weeks after the warehouse, Angelo finds himself standing outside Rosa's bakery again, his hands empty except for uncertainty. Through the window, he can see Brenda helping Rosa arrange cookies in the display case, her small face serious with concentration. Patricia sits at a table, working on a laptop, a cup of coffee steaming beside her. They look normal, happy, safe. Maybe they don't need him anymore. He turns to leave, and the bell above the door chimes. Brenda's head snaps up, her eyes going wide as she spots him through the window. The joy that explodes across her face is almost painful to witness. She runs to the door, nearly knocking over a display of pastries in her enthusiasm. Angelo. Mama, it's Angelo. He came back. Then she's outside, throwing herself at him with the same complete trust she showed that first night. He catches her, lifts her up, and feels something in his chest that he thought had died 18 years ago. Peace. Patricia appears in the doorway, her smile warm and genuine. The bruises have faded from her face. She looks healthy, rested, whole. We were starting to think you'd forgotten about us. Never. The word comes out rougher than he intended. I wanted to give you time. You've been through enough without my world bleeding into yours. Your world saved ours. Patricia steps closer, her voice dropping so only he can hear. Come inside, Angelo. Please. You look like you haven't eaten in days, and Rosa's been saving your favorite cookies for 3 weeks. He wants to refuse, wants to maintain distance, wants to protect them from the danger that follows him like a shadow. But Brenda is looking at him with those wide, trusting eyes, and Patricia is holding the door open like he belongs there, and Rosa is waving from behind the counter with a knowing smile. Angelo Greco, the most feared mafia boss on the East Coast, surrenders. Inside, The bakery smells like bread and sugar and something indefinably safe. Angelo sits at the table with Patricia, while Brenda peppers him with questions. Where has he been? Is he okay? Did the bad men hurt him? Can he stay for dinner? Brenda, let the man breathe. Patricia laughs, but her eyes are asking the same questions. Angelo finds himself talking more than he has in years. About the cleanup after the warehouse. About his businesses, carefully edited for appropriate content. About how he's been checking on them from a distance, making sure they're safe, that no one connected to Adriano's organization causes them trouble. You've been watching over us? Patricia's voice softens. Angelo, you didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. He meets her eyes. I promised Brenda I'd keep you safe. I don't break promises. Mama says you're a good man who does bad things, Brenda announces around a mouthful of cookie. Is that true? Patricia looks mortified. Brenda, that's not I didn't mean. But Angelo laughs, actually laughs. A sound so foreign that Marco would have dropped his weapon in shock. Your mama is smarter than most people I know. That's exactly what I am. Over dinner, Rosa insists. And no one argues with Rosa. Angelo learns about their lives. Patricia works as a nurse at the community clinic. Long hours for modest pay, but she loves it. Brenda wants to be a veterinarian, though she also considered astronaut and dinosaur hunter. They've lived in the city for 5 years, moved here after Patricia's husband died in a car accident. We've been on our own since then, Patricia says quietly. Just the two of us against the world. Angelo understands that isolation, that determination to survive without needing anyone. But he also sees what he's been missing, the warmth of shared meals, the sound of a child's laughter, the comfort of people who care whether you make it through the day. As evening fades to night, Brenda's energy finally wanes. She falls asleep on the couch in Rosa's back room, and Patricia carries her small body with practiced ease. Angelo stands to leave, reaching for his jacket. Angelo, wait. Patricia returns, closing the door to the back room. I need to say something, and I need you to really hear it. He tenses, expecting her to ask him to stay away, to stop checking on them, to let them move on without the constant reminder of the violence that nearly destroyed their lives. Instead, she says, we want you in our lives, not as a bodyguard or a protector or someone who watches from a distance. As family, as someone who belongs with us. Angelo's breath catches. Patricia, you don't know what you're asking. My life is dangerous. The people I've made enemies of, they won't hesitate to use you against me. They'll hurt you just to hurt me. I can't. You can't control everything, Angelo. Bad things happen whether you're in our lives or not. But good things happen too. Brenda asks about you every single day. She draws pictures of you. She prays that you're safe. And Patricia's voice breaks slightly. I haven't felt protected in 5 years. Not since my husband died. But when I'm around you, even knowing what you are, what you do, I feel safe. Brenda feels safe. Is that really so terrible? Angelo wants to argue. Wants to list all the reasons this is a mistake. But standing in this warm bakery, looking at this woman who sees exactly what he is and wants him anyway, he can't find the words. I'm not a good man, he says finally. You're good enough for us. And somehow, that's all he needs to hear. 3 months later, Angelo Greco's life looks completely different. He still runs his empire with ruthless efficiency. He still makes decisions that would keep most people awake at night. But now, on Tuesday evenings, he has dinner at Rosa's bakery with Patricia and Brenda. He helps Brenda with homework, his criminal accounting skills surprisingly useful for 3rd grade math. He takes them to the aquarium, to the park, to places where Brenda can be a kid and Patricia can stop looking over her shoulder. His men notice the change. They whisper about it. The boss has gone soft. The boss has a weakness. The boss has finally found something that matters more than power. They're right. But they also notice that Angelo is more dangerous than ever. More focused. More ruthless with anyone who threatens what's his. He doesn't just fight for territory or respect anymore. He fights for a little girl who draws him pictures of flowers and a woman who reminds him that humanity still exists in the darkest places. On a Thursday evening, 4 months after that first desperate night, Angelo sits at his usual table in La Rosa d'Oro. His capos are mid-discussion about a territory dispute when the door opens. Patricia walks in, Brenda holding her hand, both of them dressed nicely. The entire restaurant falls silent, every dangerous man in the room turning to stare at these civilians walking into their sacred space. Angelo stands immediately, his face softening in a way his men have never seen. Patricia? What are you? Is everything okay? Everything's fine. She smiles. walking up to him without fear despite the room full of killers. "We just thought we'd surprise you. Brenda wanted to see where you work." Brenda waves at the stunned mobsters, completely unafraid. "Hi, are you all friends with Angelo?" Marco's jaw is on the floor. Dante looks like he's having an aneurysm. The other capos exchange glances that range from confused to scandalized. Angelo looks at Patricia, then at Brenda, then at his crew of hardened criminals who've just had their entire worldview shattered by a 7-year-old girl asking if they're friends. And he makes a choice that changes everything. "Yes," Angelo says clearly, his hand resting protectively on Brenda's shoulder. "They're all my friends. And this is Brenda and her mother, Patricia. They're family, which means they're under my protection. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly. The message is clear. Touch them, threaten them, even look at them wrong, and Angelo Greco will burn your entire world down. Not a single man in that room doubts him." Patricia leans close, her voice low. "Are you sure about this? Making us public? Making us targets?" Angelo looks down at her, at Brenda, at this small family he's somehow found himself part of. "I've spent 18 years hiding from the possibility of caring about someone. I'm done hiding. Let the world know. You're mine to protect, and I won't fail you the way I failed before." She squeezes his hand, understanding everything he's not saying. That night, Angelo Greco, coldest mafia boss on the East Coast, man who built an empire on fear and blood and loneliness, finally allows himself something he thought was lost forever. He allows himself to hope. He allows himself to heal. He allows himself to be part of a family again. And in a city where darkness touches everything, where violence is currency and trust is suicide, one little girl's desperate plea created something impossible. Redemption for a man who thought his soul was beyond saving. Brenda sits at Angelo's table, eating fancy pasta and asking his capos if they've ever seen a real dinosaur. Patricia laughs at something Rosa says, her face relaxed and happy. Marco watches it all with cautious approval, beginning to understand that maybe their boss hasn't gone soft. Maybe he's finally found something worth being strong for. And Angelo Greco, for the first time since Lucia died, feels like he's home. Thanks for sticking with this story till the end. If you enjoyed it, you're going to love the next one. It's packed with unexpected turns and heartfelt moments. Click the image on your screen to keep the journey going, and make sure to hit subscribe for more amazing stories. Drop a comment and rate this story from 1 to 10. I can't wait to see what you think.
А все равно, сути дела не меняет, зарплата плюс-минус везде там, больше, чуть меньше. И, наверное, это все, вот эта общая ситуация, наверное, у многих привела, во-первых, сфера развлечений, да, всякие там кредиты и так далее, настолько загоняют каждого в задницу человека. И об этом на самом деле никто так-то не говорит. Какое количество сейчас, допустим, даже в те же сложные времена такие, когда сейчас идет там специальная военная операция, да, где люди вообще умирают, в принципе, за какую-то сумму денег. То есть какая мотивация, то есть у мужика идти типа на войну, воевать и заработать денег? Потому что он в обычной жизни не понимает, типа, как реализовать себя. Он понимает, что он может пойти работать на какую-то работу, где зарплаты его все равно не будет хватать. Тут тоже двойственная сторона. Хорошо, когда она есть, плохо, когда ее нету. Да, вот это маленькая даже зарплаты. Но морально-то ты все равно подавлен. Ты понимаешь, да, я там пойду туда, но смысла мне этого не принесет большого. Да, у меня там станет, если я вообще не работаю и буду работать за 50 тысяч, хорошо, что они у меня есть, я смогу там покушать себе купить, но это же дизмораль. Когда ты заходишь в интернет и видишь, как люди там в Дубае летают, покупают себе огромное количество автомобилей какие-то, много всего такого, что ты за эту зарплату себе никогда в жизни позволить не сможешь. И как человеку оставаться морально типа сильным? Что ему нужно делать? Наверное, во-первых, это, наверное, все от семьи исходит, да? То есть, какая семья у тебя, как она построена. Если ты один живешь, Это сложно, да, ты будешь сам себя, но у тебя опять-таки, возможно, ну, родители, если есть, которые друзья поддержат тебя в какой-то момент, хотя бы просто отвлекут тебя от этих мыслей. А если у тебя, к примеру, там, семья, жена, к примеру, да, есть дети, то тут, наверное, поддержка только от них исходит какая-то. Вот. Чтобы не упиваться в своих мыслях о том, что какая нынче сложная жизнь. И, наверное, других-то вариантов, в принципе-то, и нету. Какие вот еще варианты, в принципе, изменить, поменять свою жизнь настолько, чтобы она была, ну, казалась тебе удачной, да, реализованным себя в жизни, в чем-то. В чем, вот как проявляется на самом деле у нас реализованность? Наверное, у 90% случаев это финансовое благополучие, финансовая независимость. Это, наверное, одно из таких ключевых моментов, когда человек, наверное, считает себя реализованным, да, в этой жизни. То есть, как добиться этого? То есть, с учетом того, что даже возьмем нашу страну, да, сколько миллионов людей здесь живет, как каждому добиться этого результата? Непонятно. И с каждым годом просто ситуация становится все хуже и хуже. Все дорожает, люди зарабатывают либо столько же. Ну, даже если они зарабатывают столько же, на самом деле этого все уже недостаточно. К чему это все приведет на самом деле? В оконцове, наверное, мир погрязнет в большую депрессию в какую-то. Какие-то войны, возможно, или еще что-то еще больше глобальных таких вещей, которые не приведут ни к чему хорошему на самом деле. Поддержка каждого человека именно для того, чтобы он держался, наверное, морально, заключается в том, что, ну, наверное, дом, в который ты приходишь, должен быть крепостью твоей, да, что это единственное должно быть место, где ты будешь чувствовать себя под защитой. Для этого было придумано, наверное, своя пещера изначально, потом свои какие-то чумы, палатки различные, да, потом все это превратилось. На данный момент это у нас дома, квартиры, в которые мы приходим и должны ощущать себя в безопасности, чтобы можно быть немного морально расслабленным с учетом того, что ты выходишь каждый день на работу, на улицу, и все равно давление вот это вот, оно все присутствует. Когда ты заходишь в магазин, видишь цены эти, да, и так далее, не можешь себе что-то там приобрести, позволить на ежедневной основе, это откладывает большой, наверное, отпечаток. Не, наверное, а точно. И поэтому, когда возвращаясь домой, ты чувствуешь, вот хотя бы есть типа уголок того места, куда ты можешь прийти. Уголок на самом деле человеку много тоже не надо. Можно хотеть большего, но на самом деле человеку одному много не надо. Да? Ему нужно спальное место, спокойное место, где можно подумать. Ну, это когда ты один, к примеру, да? Когда у тебя есть семья, к примеру, ты приходишь домой, опять-таки, тут хотя бы, да, поговорить о каких-то вещах. Просто об отрешенных вещах, наверное. И, возможно, при этих же условиях у тебя и появляется какая-то дополнительная мотивация для реализации себя. А когда у тебя нету ничего, вот это уже становится проблемой. И это у многих на самом деле. Что значит не иметь ничего? Тут, наверное, самое главное, дизмораль у человека еще возникает при том, что это уже, наверное, где-то в глубине души даже она возникает при даже хорошей финансовой подушке такой, которая у тебя есть, хороших финансовых деньгах, да, то есть, но нету вот внутреннего ощущения, к примеру, дружбы, семьи, любви и так далее. Это уже отдельно на самом деле разговор, потому что мы, вот, к примеру, можем взять, как сейчас вот Новстрой, если кто-то смотрит, насколько тяжело обладать такими финансами и не иметь, по сути, ничего. Ни друзей, ничего не иметь. Так главное это получается для бедных главное деньги, для богатых главное какое-то внутреннее ощущение нужности, не из-за денег. Вот такой вот. И эта борьба какая-то такая и вот эти два слоя общества, богатые и бедные, они друг друга не понимают. На самом деле из-за этого, возможно. Потому что богатый человек, он уже не смотрит на деньги, он не считает эти деньги. Ему важно внутреннее вот это вот ощущение того, что он нужен без них даже. Это как Тони Старку сказали: а кто ты без костюма? На вот это я филантроп, тудым-сюдым, он сказал, да? Так и человеку, у которого много денег, ты задашь вопрос: а кто ты без денег? Ну, что ты представляешь себе без денег? Вот и это, наверное, возможно, таких людей богатых, как вот, например, там Новстрой, задав ему этот вопрос: а кто ты без денег? Он на него ответить-то и не сможет. Обратная сторона людей бедных, да, вот если мы посмотрим, человеку